Gus, what is your purpose? What is your purpose? All right, so we're gonna do AMA vlog, right?
Yeah, you ready?
Let's do an AMA vlog. I'm gonna wear my glasses so I feel smart. Hey everybody, this is the second to last vlog ever. We thought a good format for the second to last one would be an AMA. This is kind of like the last official, like, talking to the camera vlog. We do have our final vlog last week, but we're doing something a little different. Think you'll probably like it. So, I have with me Chelsea Harfouche, and she has curated all of your questions. I have not looked at any of them.
Okay, you ready to get started?
Mm-hmm.
Site user Baker Blitz wants to know, if you had to start RT all over again, what about this changing environment online would limit or help you? In other words, what would RT 2018 year one look like, and how would it be different?
Okay, so if I had to start the company again today,
Yes.
in today's environment,
What would it look like? How would it be different?
I'm going to give a very honest answer to this. I don't know. And I talk about this a lot because this environment today is so different from where we started. I would say to somebody starting out today, the big thing is you have to stay consistent. It was always important to us when we first started, but now because there's such a huge noise floor that you just have to find a way to cut through it with unique content. I mean, I'm actually starting a new show, and the way I'm approaching the aesthetic for the show is a way that people can instantly identify with it. So when they see it, they don't confuse it with anything else or just get lost in the mix of all the content that's out there now. It's just there's so much garbage out there, and it's people who are willing to, they don't care how they get the views. You know, they don't care what it means long term for them. They just want the short term hit of those views.
Right.
And so you gotta, and unfortunately, big audiences support that stuff. And so you gotta find a way to navigate that too. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know what I would do differently today.
YouTube user Juicy Pork Chops wants to know. I'm doing my best.
Every other name was taken.
Nobody likes a dry pork chop.
It's
Let's
very
be
true.
real.
It's very true.
Do you believe in talent, and do you think that everyone is born with the ability to excel at something specific, or is there no such thing as talent? Some people say that.
I'd like to say that because I'd like to think I dedicated myself to things that I'm good at.
Sure.
But at the same time, I recognize I could spend as much time as I want to in singing lessons or music lessons, and I just don't get it. I don't get music at all. So I think talent is definitely part of it. But I think that, with practice, you can find those aptitudes that you have and then hone them.
Unimaginative Ostrich wants to know, what would you describe as the greatest conscious change you've achieved for yourself during your adult life?
Holy cow.
Good.
I was just talking about this with Ellie the other day because she's doing the On It stuff. Is that once you get into a steady routine of healthy exercise, there's a weird thing that happens with that where you shift from being a night person to a morning person. At least I do, I think so.
You think?
It almost feels like you have an extra day, you know, because nobody's awake and you're getting stuff done. You know, it's kind of like when you're in a different time zone.
Well, let's get real quick. TJP37 asks, what's something you're not supposed to tell us but you're going to anyway?
I know the location of the next RTX. I would get in a lot of trouble if I said that one, right? Let me think about this.
Could you say the country?
Well, you have a history of announcing things I'm not supposed to announce. One of the things we haven't announced this. I feel bad about this because it's not my thing, but that's okay. We have an initiative this year to make a group of people within the company that make just smaller videos. Probably isn't the right word, but faster videos. Just like, hey, here's a camera. Go in a conference room, make a video, or just go to the grocery store, shoot something there. Really fast, really cool videos and things that come out quickly and are kind of off the beaten path a little bit as well. And that group is called The Lab, and we will be talking about that more in the future. I'm sorry, Evan, that I told everyone about your idea.
Meg of House RT asks, what project that you've worked on, RT or anywhere else, has changed the most between the initial concept and the final project? And why?
RVB has evolved the most.
Yeah.
RVB, it doesn't look anything like the first episode, 16 years later. We went from one style of animation to a totally different style of animation, you know, machinima to 3D animated. And even in season 14, there's so many different types in there. So it's like, it really has evolved a ton. Everything always evolves a little bit. The original concept for Schooled changed a lot.
Yeah, definitely.
The Gauntlet was one that I'm frustrated by. The original pitch that I made to the brand was I wanted to make an immersion game show that was like in the style of Double Dare or Legends of the Hidden Temple, and where we'd have contestants on, they do video game stuff, and then they run an obstacle course based on a video game. And the brand didn't like the idea because they felt it was an old idea based on one of our shows, Immersion, because it was an existing show. They said they wanted something new. I was like, well, how about a show where we play video games against each other for a prize? Like, that's perfect. It was like the most basic idea.
Right, yeah.
And I always, with brands, sometimes I get frustrated by that, but I always like the idea of doing an immersion game show. Day 5 stayed the longest in production, and that went through the most amount of people. At one point, I directed it, and I wrote a script, then Matt wrote a script, and Matt directed a whole 40-minute episode of it, and then Josh Flanagan and Chris took it over, Josh being the showrunner, and turned it into the series it is today. But that was like a 6-year process to where we are now. Yeah.
Yeah, so that one probably changed a lot, too. If you could go back in time and relive a moment in RT history, what would you choose and why? And
getting Gus' hair in my mouth like 4 seconds ago.
Well, there's a caveat.
I might be wasting
You can't change anything. Like, it's not going back and redoing something. It's going back and being sort of like a passive observer, but you just want to relive. Like, what do you want to relive?
Super easy.
Okay.
Super easy. Well, it's one of two. The first time that we went to the Lincoln Center in New York for the debut of RVB Season 2. Which was really cool. My mom died right before I started RVB. Because it was literally like 3 months after she died, I started writing and I made the trailer. And, which was in 2002. It's weird to think my mother has no idea what Rooster Teeth is. Like, she wasn't alive for any of that. Like, I was a guy working at a tech job who liked making movies on the side. Like, one of the most important things in my life, she never saw it or got to experience it. We were from upstate New York, but she was always like a Manhattan file. Like, she loved Manhattan and everything. So to be able to go to the Lincoln Center to show that for our season 2 premiere was just incredible, to be at the Lincoln Center and be invited to do that. The other thing would definitely be the premiere of season 8 at PAX. I think it was the first PAX East, and it was Monty Ohm had been working with us for 6 months, and we didn't tell anybody. We kept Monty a total secret. We didn't tell anybody we were changing the way we were doing RVB with animated fight scenes and things like that. And we just like sprung it on the audience at PAX East and then brought Monty up on stage. And it's all of it's recorded and it's really cool, but it was a moment when I was sitting in the back of the theater knowing this. And for like the first time in 8 years, I was nervous about something. I had like that racing heart, and I was like, is this gonna work? Is it not gonna work? And it was a really tremendous moment. And I would go back and I'd watch that again.
Yeah, that one sounds pretty cool. Well, those were like intense. Let's take it somewhere funny to come down from that. The Ghost of Cake wants to know, if you could ask all of the RT fans to do something, what would it be?
That's a big group of people. So I mean, even just like one little small positive thing would be amazing. You know what? I would just say it would be incredible, that group of people. It's like, whatever idea you're thinking about, just do it today. Just start it today.
I feel like you really didn't think that one through.
Well, maybe not every idea.
I am gonna kidnap Gus. Thanks, Burnie.
Whatever noble creative project you have, just start it today. Why not? Just sit down, like spend 5 minutes doing it. Just do that little first step. And can you imagine if everybody did that one day? That'd be crazy.
How did being on The Amazing Race, because you were on The Amazing Race?
I was on The Amazing Race. Season 28.
Well, so how did being on The Amazing Race impact your relationship, both during that time and overall? And how much were your reactions played up for the camera?
You mean for me and Ashley, I'm assuming?
No.
Yeah.
You and Phil. Are you guys still like...
Well, my relationship with Phil is way better after I met him on The Amazing Race. We told them going in that we were not going to argue, that we're not a couple that argues. And we really don't. Pretty much everything on there I feel was very genuine. And I feel like it really impacted our relationship in a positive way. We're both worried about it. It's made our relationship stronger because it's such a unique experience that I can't even explain it to anyone else, but Ashley just gets it. It's like, we share with them. And like all my friends who are on the show, they're like such a weird group of friends in my life because they're almost like adult summer camp friends. I don't know how else to describe them. Yeah. We have this incredibly short but really strong bond with all of those people. Yeah, I don't want to sound too much like somebody who just got back from their first Burning Man, but it is a unique experience.
This is, okay, a lot of people had this same question but Ninth Metaphor is the first one that I saw, so they're the one that gets credit. Knowing what you know now about the company, is there anything that you regret doing or not doing? Or anything that you'd want to change? Like, there was a lot of like, what's your biggest regret in building Rooster Teeth that you wish you could change now?
One of the biggest developments in the last couple of years is obviously the relationship with Fullscreen. I actually wish we'd done more of that sooner. Like taking on investment and those kinds of things. Because for the first 11 years, we'd make a show, we'd grow it into a hit, and then we'd take the resources from that, the money from that, and invest in a new show, a bigger show. This is a strategy that works really well as long as you make a never-ending string of hits, right?
Yeah.
And so it made us, I think, for the first 10 years, a little more focused, but at the same time, it also made us more risk-adverse. And I think we're a lot less risk-adverse now.
Yeah.
And so we make content, we can try new things, and things are a little bit off the beaten path, and not be afraid to fail, which is a good thing.
You can get a little froggy with it now. Squally Poet wants to know, in moments of doubt and momentary loss of passion for a project, what makes you push through and just get it done? Which is also something I'd like to know.
Oh, that goes back to that whole vlog about discipline. And you have to have times where you just, slot out for the day when you're going to work on something creative if you're in the middle of a creative project. Like, I've always had the privilege of being able to go from one thing to the next. Sometimes it's a little maddening, but it does help when, you hit those creative, deficits.
Do you ever feel, because I feel like the excuse that I let myself use is that the content will suffer, like if I'm not really feeling in that moment. Mm-hmm. Do you ever feel that way, or do you think that's a fake excuse?
Well, here's what I think. I think you don't have to put something out until it's where you want it to be. But I think what you're talking about is a thing that artists in general suffer from, which is they always want their idea to be perfect before they show it to anybody else. And that's not a thing. There's no such thing as a perfect idea. Deadlines are important because nothing is ever finished. It just comes out, And if you don't have a deadline, there's always something else you can do to work on.
Yeah, that's good advice. Bob Zombie, 3K. Boob Zombie wants to know, what is a question you want people to ask you but no one ever does?
Oh my gosh. Let me come back to that one. I'll think about that one for a little bit. I'll come back to that.
Okay, we'll come back. I've talked to Jeff about this. I'm interested to hear your answer to it as another founder. But El Super Bisto asks, at what point did you realize that Rooster Teeth was getting big enough to become your full-time job, and how scary was it to make that job?
So I was the last person to leave my day job because I had a really good day job, and it was 2.5 years in. Red vs. Blue was not an overnight success, but it was pretty close. I mean, it was like, for 3,000 people watched the first episode, 250,000 people watched the second episode. We were at 1 million views a week by the end of the month. I had a clearer view of the finances and everything else of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was a point pretty quickly, like in the first year, when I was making more doing Rooster Teeth than I was doing my day job. Mm-hmm. And so that's usually the tipping point. But I also thought, this thing could be over in 2 seconds,
What was it like juggling that? Like, was Rooster Teeth a full-time job at that point? Like, were you essentially having, 2 full-time jobs?
Yeah, I'd work all day at my job and then go home and work at night. And then on Thursdays, videos came out on Friday for RBB back then. I just never slept on a Thursday. I just stayed up all night Thursday working on stuff.
YouTube user Spanunu asks, where do you shop for your clothes? Because I really like your sense of style, Burnie.
Oh, look at that. A lot of times when I buy stuff, I have a lot of the same shirts, almost like a cartoon character. I only wore blue or black polos. That was it. And I had my jeans, and they were all basically the same, so I didn't have to make any choices. And I did that for 7 years, I think. I go to formal events, and then I realized I didn't bring enough stuff. Mm-hmm. Or I'm in LA, for instance, and they're get invited to something, well, shit, I don't have anything for that. So then I got to run out real quick and grab something. And that's typically how I discover new things. And I found this jacket is the Jack Reacher. Right?
Jacket. It is.
It's from Rod and Gun. And then the other thing too is if I get something I like, I will buy multiples of it. I have 2 different versions of this jacket.
Oh really?
Yeah.
2 different colors, or
nope,
just a backup?
Just a backup.
Who in the Rooster Teeth family?
Joel Heyman. Sorry, go ahead.
Who was most attractive? No, I'm just kidding. Joel Heyman. Who in the Rooster Teeth family most surprised you with their skills and talent? Who did you think was going to be a total loser, and then they were just amazing? And I'm sitting right here.
Your buddy, Jeff Ramsey, started Achievement Hunter, right?
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for a long time. Finally, we had this bet to get the whole thing kicked off. He starts Achievement Hunter, and then starts producing about 3 to 8 videos a day. And I was like, okay. And I was talking about all the videos that Jack was editing. He's just editing so many videos. And Jeff was like, well, I edited half the videos. I had no idea that Jeff could edit a video. First 7 years of working at this company, he never edited a video. I didn't know he could do it. And then he all of a sudden starts making the show where he's pumping out 8 videos a day. So, yeah, but I mean, I've seen over the years, like, people who are super impressive. As we grow as a company, we add positions that normal companies have. And they don't always make sense to me because there was 4 or 5 of us who did all those jobs. Forever and ever and ever. And the facilities job, I remember in particular when we hired him, I was like, really? We need a facilities person? What is that? What does a facilities person do? Now, if John Mace was not here, I would go insane. Because everything that he does and his whole team, they're just amazing. They keep this place like a well-oiled machine.
They're awesome. I also I feel like it's an unsung kind of talent, especially in business, but John Mace will always make me happy. Like, even if I'm stressed out, if he walks by, he can just say like 3 words and they mean nothing, but like if it's coming from him, I'll just sit there and like smile for the first time in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's an important thing to have around the office.
I have yet to see it, so I'm looking forward to the day to see Chelsea smile for the first time. It'll be amazing.
It's not my vibe, but come back over to RT site.
Let's do it. That's the better side anyway.
Well, that is, yeah, it makes sense.
You know, if enough of these YouTubers keep fucking up, like PewDiePie and Logan Paul, I've got by default the best YouTube Red show because it's the only one left. They're all getting yanked and like canceled and everything else.
This one I think is fun. 245 NM245 says on set, how do you act around good friends? How do you draw the line and distinguish professionalism from friendship? Like, how do you like keep it profesh?
For a long time, I guess just by default of my position, I was kind of like the field trip leader all the time. Let me shut this. There was one time we were at an event, and we all walked out of the place. We were going to the next thing. We had to get from one place to the next. And I thought, I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to call any cars. I'm just going to stand here like everybody else and see how long it takes us to go somewhere. And everyone's just chatting and everything. We were there 25 minutes, sitting perfectly still. And finally, someone goes, are we going somewhere? I was like, where are we going? And they said, well, we're supposed to be going over to the event center. And I was like, yeah. And they were just like, what do we, it was like, I don't know, it's one of those weird things where it's like sometimes it's, people's expectations in your personal life, like they permeate into professional life. And professional life bleeds into the personal life too.
Have you figured out the one question you want people to ask you that no one ever does?
No, I think it was, where do I get my clothes? So thank you to Juicy Pork Chop or whoever asked that question.
They gotcha. They totally understood you, and I don't think that it was Juicy Pork Chop. Real one that I thought would be a really great last question is from TAMC 1337. What is something you've learned about yourself or about others at RT through doing this vlog?
I don't know. I didn't. The original concept for the vlog was taking someone at Rooster Teeth and going to do something cool with them all the time, but organizing that just became such a nightmare. And then we just started doing like more stuff of like at events and behind the scenes of the company and things like that. So I think the thing I learned more than anything else is my friends are very, 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 very busy, you know?
Yeah.
And
so are you.
I know.
And also you too.
But if I take the time out to go do a project, that doesn't mean everyone's going to take the time out to go do it with me too.
Yeah.
And this was like a super low budget thing, the vlog, you know? Yeah. It was on the fly. Sometimes it would take a day to shoot some stuff, or we'd be traveling or something like that. I did read is people are saying, well, Burnie's like, I think it was in relation specifically to the store problems at Christmas. They're like, I can't believe Burnie's taking a bunch of money and traveling all over the place while the store is all fucked up. And yeah, the store was all fucked up at Christmas. But I want to be clear too, the company did not pay for any of this stuff. I travel when I would go to New York for a press event, and then while I was in New York, I would shoot a vlog. Yeah. So it's basically like a free show to the company. Chelsea, what's a question you would ask?
I would ask you?
Yeah.
Let's see. Well, I know that you and I both, like, one thing that you and I bonded about is our shared, like, we were almost doctors, and then we were, like, really went a real different way with it. I really like working in a creative space, and I can't imagine doing anything else. But sometimes I wish that there was a way that I could feel like I was doing something really important, and then I feel bad about that, because I'm like, well, you can argue that like art is important, art's important to me, so why can't I feel like the art that I make is important to other people? But I guess, like, yeah, how do you marry those two things? Like, how do you feel like you're making a difference while still like kind of working in what can feel like a very navel-gazing kind of space.
Well, I think that the docs that we're doing are kind of a step in that direction.
Yeah, I'm so excited for those.
Especially I think as we see like the shift from younger audiences watching TV like MTV to now shift watching mostly online content, is I think we do have a responsibility to make, content that is not educational, but that elevates people,
Yeah. All right, well, thanks so much for doing this, Burnie.
Cool.
For sitting down.
Okay, and hey everybody, this will be probably the last time I get a chance to say this directly, but thank you so much for watching the vlog. Ellie, poke your head in there so you can say hi. So, and thanks to everybody who helped make the vlog. Chelsea's helped us a ton in the last few months. Ellie, of course, when she came on board, was a huge help to it. Everyone in the programming or uploading department who would take the vlog at the last minute. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, because it's on the fly production. And guys, I'm super happy that we were able to make a vlog every single week. And we made it through the entire year.
We really did it.
So luckily Ellie popped in at the last moment.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Bye y'all.